beauties. I'm Maria.
And I'm Megan, and we are the co-founders of The Intentional Single, a place for Catholic single and dating gals to be seen, known, loved on, and journeyed with.
We know you're tired of feeling overlooked in your ache because honestly, holding on to hope while single and dating can be one of the most challenging things you've ever done. If that's you, girl, you're in the right place here.
Get ready for countless gems on how to live a full and whole lifestyle, diving into dating, mindsets, hormones, theology, literally all of the things.
We're excited to journey alongside you because this side of heaven, we never arrive. And we are with you on that journey. So welcome to the Intentional Singles.
Thriving in the space between.
You are made for love. You were made to live wide open.
Hello, ladies. Welcome
Welcome.
to the Intentional Single Podcast, Thriving in the Space Between.
It's finally here, ladies. The day you've been waiting for.
And we're so excited. So we know that when we have dropped little hints about this getting started, you guys have been just ecstatic about it, as are we, because we recognize there's not really a podcast quite like this out there. And so we're excited to just go there with you guys and bring up things that are coming up in the lives of, I guess I should say, in the life of one who is in a single and dating space.
Mm-hmm.
We know those areas so well. And today, though, we just wanted to go ahead and for those of you who don't know who the Intentional Single is, you've never heard of us, or maybe you've heard of us, but want to know who the heck are you and how did you guys get started, which is that question always gets asked. How did you guys meet? How did you guys start this? And so we're just going to begin there today. It's not going to be a super long episode. We want to invite you into our hearts, which is why we're doing this work, and just invite you to come along for the journey. So Miss Megan, so to start with, I'm Maria Spears Muma, and this is our beautiful Megan Elfelt, and I'm going to let her start off because in many ways we kind of have different journeys to come to this point, but I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Megan.
That's the way God works, different journeys and then meeting along the way. Oh man. Oh, right. Well, ladies, it is such a joy to be with you. It never ceases to amaze me. All of you coming from all different corners of the world. And it's such a joy to be with you along the journey, whether you're just stumbling upon us because a friend shared the Intentional Single with you, or if you've been journeying with us since the very beginning. So my kind of story, we're gonna plop in the middle of my journey here, of actually a breakup that I had gone through, and I wanted to kind of bring my desires back to the Lord, and I had some friends who were planning a beautiful pilgrimage. And so if you've never gone on a solo road trip, I highly recommend going on a solo road trip to be able to be quiet or listen to podcasts in the car like I did, and just really allow space for God to speak to you in the different transitions that come about in our lives. And I had a friend who had passed along to me a podcast of these two beautiful Catholic women, and they were diving into truth, beauty, and goodness, and all the different aspects of our faith and how to live that out, like practically speaking. And they had invited onto their podcast a beautiful woman who had been single for many, many years, and had asked her a bunch of questions about her perspective on how to really live your single and your dating years well. And so when I heard about, this podcast, and I started scrolling through the list for my road trip, and I was like, I need to download these. What kept popping up was any title that said single. I was like, oh, well, I'm freshly single. I want to grow in that place. And download. So I am driving along, passing, cow fields in the Midwest on a brisk November day before Thanksgiving. And this beautiful woman's voice enters into my car speakers from this podcast, and she just spoke so eloquently and so poignantly towards the ache of being single. There was no complaining. It was all a recognition that God is always working behind the scenes. And if you choose to be awash in hope, then wow, what a beautiful life that you're going to lead, no matter when your desires are fulfilled. And that's the message that I just kind of got some chills right there, because that's the message that I pulled away. And as I'm listening to this beautiful woman, by the way, she's sitting right across from me right now. I was so blown away because in that part of my life, I was transitioning to to coaching in the single space. And every single point that the Miss Maria Spears Muma was reaching spoke to my heart in a way that I had not heard someone articulate in the single and dating Catholic Christian space ever. Like, she hit so many areas of things that I had thought about and talked about and prayed about. And I just felt so seen and cared for and loved. And I was like, I want to meet this woman. So I'm driving, I'm listening to her on my car speakers, and God answered a lot of prayers on that pilgrimage, which is a story for a whole nother day. And when I came back from the pilgrimage, I kept listening to some more of those episodes and ended up reaching out to Maria. And we just started collaborating because we realized that our hearts were in such a similar space. And you'd been coaching many single women, single and dating women in the Catholic Christian space as well.
Yes. Yeah. So I had been doing different aspects of coaching and ministry and speaking for literally like 20 something years. And I had gotten introduced to another coaching program. And it was funny because prior to that, I remember waking up in the middle of the night in that space, where you're not awake, you're not asleep, that kind of in between place. And I sat up in bed and I felt the Lord say, write this down. And I had my journal by my bed, and he gave me this whole vision of working with women, helping them to thrive and to grow. And there was community, and there was this space of like laughter and joy and growing in the dating space and just as a whole person. And they were taking courses together, and there was all these elements, right? So I wrote page after page and different topics and this whole thing, right? And then I finished, I put my journal down, I laid back down and I fell asleep. And then I honestly forgot about it. Because it's kind of one of those like half awake, half asleep, right? And I kind of thought it was a dream. So I don't think I even looked at my journal that day. So fast forward, I was introduced to this other coaching program at the time, and I was like, oh my gosh, and then that was when I happened to look at my journal again, and I saw this whole thing. I was like, oh my goodness. And so when I was introduced to this other coaching program, I was like, oh, this is kind of like what I saw. Maybe this is what the Lord meant. And just kind of, again, put the journal down, kind of left that there. And so started doing more and more coaching. And again, that because I'd been single for so long, and I had met women from all over the world and had spoken with them and cried with them and sat in those spaces with them. And I was like, wait a second, no matter where we're from, as women, we're all experiencing the same pain points, the same challenges in this dating and single space. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's going into those places, or the people who were talking about it, they got married very early on. So it just felt like they were missing things. And I still was feeling unseen, and these women were. And so I had started this book and kind of had it off to the side. It was kind of one of those where I was like, but I also don't want to be the girl who's like, oh, she's a single person. And then it's like the label. And then there's a lot of fear around even putting that book out. So kind of on a whim, Megan and I had started collaborating at this point. And I sent her one of the chapters, and I was like, hey, would you just give me feedback? And she was freaking fire, because she was like, Maria, she calls me up and she's like, after reading through it, she said, Maria, that is fire. She's like, you need to get this out to women. And I was like, that's so scary. And all I can say is that the Holy Spirit, I remember I was pacing around my backyard. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. And she just called me out. And I share this, ladies, because some of y'all need called out by your sisters. And it's really our hope and prayer that at some points in this, as you listen to this podcast over the next month and year and everything, that there'll be moments where you'll feel that Holy Spirit's like, hey, I'm talking to you, you know? And that was one of those moments with Megan. She challenged me and said, Maria, that may be a scary place, but it is so obvious that this needs out for the girls. And so long story short, we turned that book into a course and we dove in. And so that was what created the first course that what did we call it? We called it the dating workshop.
The dating workshop. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we had a beautiful group of ladies go through that, and it's continued to evolve and grow. And here we are. We now have a membership that we just launched that is, again, such a God thing, because we know that this season can be challenging. And we know that it can feel very lonely, and that you can feel isolated and like you don't have support. And it can feel confusing, you know, and we wanted to create a beautiful space so you guys could be journeyed with, because you're not meant to do this journey alone. You could be seen and known in these spaces and loved. And here we are.
Oh my goodness. I remember exactly where I was too when I called you out. It's so interesting. The body remembers, like the body keeps score. And I remember I was in public. I was actually at a dog park, walking my family's dog at the time. And I remember people kind of giving me like a side eye, because when I get really passionate, I'm not even Italian, but when I get really passionate, my voice like goes up really loud in volume. I might be one of the loudest in my family. And I remember where I was, because I also know what it feels like to have some sort of dream and not really know like when to begin it or how to put it forth. And it's so beautiful that you're here, ladies. And I think something that you're going to find to be really fascinating about this space with the intentional single is that you have here a beautiful newly married woman's perspective, as well as a woman who, yes, she is married, but she has walked the walk for decades, for a long time. She knows the pain points, ladies, and have her perspective, walking the walk and navigating these spaces of trying to hold on to hope and dreaming and following God's will for her life in all the different missions that she's been a part of. And then you also have a single person's perspective, which I think is going to really bless you. Not to shine a light on either of us, but to help you recognize that, you know, when we're in different seasons of life, God uses beautiful moments and experiences to help us understand kind of like where we're coming from. And you're going to find out very quickly that the intentional single is a space to be seen, to be loved, and to be accompanied. Because I can tell you firsthand, I've been single for a long time, and I know what loneliness feels like. I have so many beautiful friends. I have so many beautiful loved ones, but there's something about that ache that can bring about such a loneliness when it's stuffed away or hidden or avoided or distracted.
Amen.
And you are about to a journey with some incredible women, whether it's the women that you see through Instagram, some beautiful gals over there, whether it's the women that you meet through our workshops, or if you decide, you know, that you want to journey with us in membership one day, that you are really going to be accompanied. And that is really our hope and our dream and our desire, and also our prayer for you, to be seen, to be known, and to be accompanied. Yes. And those are actually also the core desires of every human being too, is to be seen, to be known, as to be loved. I just added accompanied there because there's something about accompaniment that we are very afraid of as single women, because of what our culture promotes. I mean, we won't get into all those things today. We'll get into them into another day. But today we just want you to know that, two women are speaking to you very humbly, and that we're just so blessed to be able to be in this space and to love on you. So thank you for that opportunity, because we don't take it lightly at all.
No, it's such a gift, ladies. It's such an honor to be able to walk with you. And, what we do offer with the Intentional Single, again, if you're new here, we do have an online presence with Instagram. We also have a weekly newsletter that goes out for how to be thriving physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And we send that out with some super fun resources. Sometimes it's recipes, it could be workouts, it could be stuff around hormones, it could be stuff around dating, just could be things around fashion, it could be
podcast recommendations, spiritual reading, all the things.
So we offer that. We also offer one-on-one coaching where we really accompany, you beauties one-on-one, and we have community. We're big, we offer workshops, and this launching membership was really a deep dream of ours, because there's something powerful when you are accompanied for a longer period of time and you're journeying with other women who are in a similar space, and you guys have similar goals, and you're being given different resources to journey in this space. And it's we've just been amazed so far with the girls who are have been journeying with us for a while, what they've been sharing, and we're so excited to see.
Blown away by the women who journey with us. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, like
beautiful.
You girls are stunning, and you need to know that. And Megan and I regularly just cry because we're so blown away and blessed by y'all. So we just, again, welcome to our podcast.
Welcome to the Intentional Single. You are about to get loved on. Prepare yourself.
Yes. And if there's topics that you would love to hear, let us know. Send us a message, because we have orchestrated so much of the Intentional Single around what you guys have wanted and asked for. And our podcast is going to be the same way. So if there are things that you're like, hey, would you talk about this? Or, hey, what about this guest or that guest? Let us know. We want to serve you. So welcome. Let's do this together.
But freedom waits for